Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to call this meeting to order. And I want to start the meeting with a pledge. We have a flag here. By the way, you have, whoever is elected to the executive committee will have a new flag and a pole. I have it here. We're transferring it from the previous committee to you. Cash box. Who would like to lead us in the pledge? Oh, let's see a hand. Chris, thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
First off, I must say welcome. I am so excited to see so many people here tonight. It gives me great pleasure to think of how much we can do for the Republican Party in Marin, which has been solidly blue for a number of decades now. In 2004, many of you have heard me say this before, we had a registration of about 23–24%. And I had considered running for Congress, and I called a friend of mine, a guy that ran the campaigns for our two congressmen, whose names I forget, McCarthy and
Burton?
no.
Jared Huffman?
No. McCarthy and Nunes. He got them elected. I've known him for years, and he runs political campaigns. And I said, what do I have to do to get elected? What do you charge me to do it? And he said, well, what's your registration? I said, well, Mark, it's 23%, maybe 24%. And he said, Jack, I wouldn't touch it if you didn't, unless you had 30%. You haven't got a chance. Well, of course, listening to him, who's done this successfully, and I've known him for many, many years, I decided not to do that. So when I see anybody that would run for public office like Congress, like Chris Colon did just last year, I take my hat off to them, because it's tough to run here. It's tough to do anything with an hour name. Every one of us that went and is on a member of the committee had to go out and knock on a number of doors to get your petition signed. And you're knocking on friendly doors, and not all of them were even aware that we were here or that there was a party, what to do about it. So it's not easy. And what about running against hostile neighbors? And then we have Huffman. Now, I don't know how many of you have met Jared. I've known Jared for a number of years, starting out when he was president of the Marin Municipal Water District. Now, I do not like Jared. He could be a pleasant fellow, but he doesn't listen to the people. How many people remember in 1995 that the county of Marin voted to have a pipeline, direct pipeline, from the Russian River to our reservoirs? Okay, now, did that ever get built? No. Jared Huffman refused to build it. And I went to a number of meetings to get this built, and I'd stand up and say, Jared, when are you going to build it? But the bug and bunny people with their fish signs saying, you're going to kill all the fish, were at this meeting, and he listened to them. They weren't part of Marin, but he listened to them. Unfortunately, we don't have the water that we should have. Anyway, that's enough of that. So I'm happy to see all you people here. I do have a couple of things I want to say. This is a private meeting of the Marin Republican Central Committee. Now, the public is invited to attend, but we ask that you not speak out unless called upon. If you want to be called upon, please raise your hand and speak only if called upon. I hope nobody has a problem with that. And we really hope that this will stay to be a peaceful thing. There will be also no recording, video, or audio, so please turn the camera off.
No.
No.
On which,
No.
on which ground you're ordering? You're not elected.
You are not elected. Matter of fact, I want to make a point of order. Morgan, you need to move off that table. You weren't elected. Move away from the table.
Meeting is adjourned.
I make a motion to adopt.
Re-adjourn the meeting?
You can adjourn, I can adjourn the meeting as chair.
You already
You're
got,
not-
you voted to order. You're done.
You're out of order.
I move that we elect Tom Hudson, temporary chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Tom Hudson's the temporary chair.
Okay, Tom. Meeting is now adjourned.
Okay, the first thing we need to do to get the meeting running is we need to establish who's here to make sure we have quorum. And this is of the elected members who were elected on March 5th, 2024 direct presidential primary election.
We have a quorum, this is the roll call here. We have Elena Garbage.
Yeah, she's here, we're all here. Right.
Is Carolyn Bednar's here?
No.
Yes, yes.
Carolyn, hi Carolyn. So we have a quorum.
I believe Frank when he tells me there's a quorum because he knows all of you, but may I propose that we read off the names just so we can establish with everyone in the room that we know who's there, so there's not a dispute later about who was here. Because we do want to make it clear that this is the majority of the folks who were elected to serve on this committee are in the room. Jack Wilkinson, and that's Jack here, so he's physically present. Is Tom Montgomery, I understand that he's resigned, is he present in the room?
No, he's not.
Okay. I had heard that he resigned. Derek Main. Derek Main.
Derek Main, is Derek Main here? Don't see him.
Mark Galperin.
Me?
Mark, thank you. Tina Menard.
Here.
Thank you, Tina. Margie Collin.
Here.
Hey, Margie's here. Ilana Barbagaletta.
Elena Barbachelata, here.
Barbara
Vice correct.
I apologize for I'm on all here right now.
She will correct you.
Carolyn Bednarz are here.
Here.
Diana Tollin. Or Diana, sorry, Diana Tollin.
Diane Talon.
Okay. TJ Nelson.
No.
John Turnicliffe. Here. Bill McLaughlin.
Here.
Julie Zeller.
Here.
Walter Jansen.
Here.
Frank Drillard.
Here.
Ron Elijah.
Here.
Matthew Bennett.
Here.
Luke Schroyer.
Here.
Brian Nagel.
Is Brian Nagel here?
Brian resigned.
Oh, okay. Renton Rolfe.
Here.
And Chris Carpiniello.
That's me.
Okay, so I haven't counted them, but we have a clear majority of those folks that were elected on the March 5th primary, so we could proceed. We've done the invocation and pledge.
We haven't done the invocation.
Sorry, we have not done an invocation. I apologize.
Chris has prepared an invocation for
Oh,
us.
Chris, would you be willing to lead us in the invocation now?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Try to get us out before 8.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Let us pray. Lord God, Heavenly King, be with us this day and guide our steps as we endeavor to conduct this evening's meeting in a way that is pleasing to you. Grant us humble hearts and a spirit of reconciliation. Help us to heal the divisions that have hindered us so. Thank you for sending your Son Jesus as ransom for our sins. May all glory and honor be yours, now and forever. Amen.
Amen. Very nice, Chris.
Thank you.
Now, there's a meeting agenda that has been passed out. Does everybody have?
I move that we adopt the America First meeting agenda.
I second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. Is there any discussion or questions about the agenda? I don't see any hands, so if there's no questions, is there any objection to unanimous consent to adopt the agenda that was handed out and approve this motion?
I,
No objection?
No objection.
So hearing no objections, then the agenda is adopted by unanimous consent. Now, the next item was to be the election of temporary chair. For the record, were there any objections? My name is Tom Hudson. I'm the parliamentarian in Placer County, and I've got a whole bunch of other titles. But were there any objections to me serving as temporary chair until we elect momentarily your permanent chair for this term? Not seeing any for the record, then, I will note that there were no objections, so I've been unanimously elected temporary chair for this very temporary purpose. So the next thing we have to do before we can actually vote on the chair for the term of office you're entering into, we actually need to adopt bylaws. The bylaws are going to determine things like what offices you are going to elect and what the duties of those offices are, and who gets to vote, and whether alternate members can serve as officers, and all of those kinds of questions will be resolved by your bylaws, so that's why we have to do this first before we go on to the election of the chair. So
I
is there a motion?
move that we adopt the bylaws that were shared with all of you by email about a month ago.
I second.
Okay?
There's been a motion and a second. Does everybody have a copy of those bylaws? I want to make sure that...
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so there's nobody... is there any discussion about the bylaws? And Frank, you had talked to me about some amendments and their...
Yes, I propose that we amend the bylaws. You see the red line version on your seats. All the members should have one. We are amending the bylaws so that alternates can serve. We have a pool of alternates. So if we have 4 people in District 1, any member can use one of those alternates. It gives us a little more flexibility. And so that's the basic change. The other one is, what is it? Let me So we're amending section, Article 2, Section 2C, and I'm sorry, Article 3, Section 2C. That's on page 6 of the red marks. And then on page 8, we're making amendments to Article 3, Section 4, and we're just making it consistent with the changes that were made in the previous section. So we're using the term nominated instead of appointed because we have to approve all the nominees in one fell swoop. So,
Point of order.
yes.
Should we not first approve the body of bylaws and then separately approve the changes, or are we going to
No.
vote on everything all at once?
If we do it first, then we need a 2/3 majority to change it.
Right.
So we want to make the amendment now and then pass it with a majority vote.
So-
So
Understood.
what will come up if this amendment is passed, we will then move to approve the amended bylaws. So, is that?
So the amended bylaws are, if I understand the motion, just to clarify what Frank just said, if I understand the motion, he's calling them the amended bylaws, but it's an amendment to a proposal that was sent out a month ago, but no bylaws have been adopted yet, so you're adopting the bylaws for the committee now with those amendments incorporated into it. Do people have a copy? I know they were passed out, but I want to make sure that nobody's... Does everyone have a copy of the bylaws and you know what he's talking about the changes he's proposing on page 8 and all that? So, okay, so it sounds like everybody has a copy of the bylaws. Are there any questions or any debate about the bylaws? Okay, hearing no questions and hearing no debate, we can proceed to a vote. I'm going to suggest that whoever you elect as your chair does the same thing to speed this meeting up, but I'll just tell you, one of the ways I conduct votes a lot of times under Robert's rules, which you haven't adopted yet as your parliamentary authority, but you very shortly will, how we do a lot of the voting is we say, is there any objection to unanimous consent? And if you say, yes, I object, then we'll actually ask for a standing vote, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But if there are no objections, we can just say it was unanimous consent, and we can move on and do things very quickly. So are there any objections to unanimous consent to adopt the bylaws as proposed with the amendments that were just discussed? Are there any objections to unanimous consent for that? Okay, I'm not seeing any objections, so the bylaws are adopted, and these will then govern the rest of this meeting, because this is now your official bylaws for this term. So in accordance with the bylaws that you just adopted, Robert's Rules of Order is the parliamentary authority. Robert's Rules of Order newly revised as your parliamentary authority for operations of your Central Committee. And in accordance with Robert's Rules, which I have with me, your body gets to decide the method of voting. And what was suggested is that for this meeting, for anything that's contested, we'll do a standing vote. as opposed to either a secret ballot or a roll call ballot or anything that can be a lot more time consuming. So the suggestion is to have a standing vote as our method of voting under Robert's rules for the things we're about to vote on. Is there any objection to unanimous consent to having a standing vote as our method of voting tonight? Okay, hearing none, then that's also adopted by unanimous consent, and that should speed things along very quickly. Next, I was informed that Tom Montgomery had resigned already from District 1.
Yes.
And it was suggested to me that you might want to, because this resignation apparently has been known for some time. I just heard about it today, but you guys on the committee may have heard about this before, so
Yes,
it's been suggested that we go ahead and fill that now.
I move that we fill that vacancy with Eric Salvesberg. He's in the correct district. He's a registered Republican, and he's a die-hard member of our group.
I second that.
Mr. Salzberg, do you want to
Eric, do you want to say anything?
say anything, or accept
Stand
the
up.
nomination?
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for District 1, for the vacancy in District 1? Are there any other nominations at this time? I'm not seeing any other nominations, so I was going to ask for a motion to close nominations. Is there a motion to close nominations?
I move that we close
Okay, there's been a
nominations.
motion to close nominations and a second. And is there any objection to unanimous consent to close nominations? And since there's only one candidate who's been nominated, that's Eric Salvesberg. If we close nominations with just one candidate, that will have the effect under Robert's rules of electing him by acclamation. So the unanimous consent to elect Mr. Salvesberg. So with that said, is there any objection to closing nominations and electing him by acclamation? Seeing no objections, congratulations, Mr. Salzberg. You're elected by Okay. I would like to ask if Mia Camera would be willing to serve as temporary secretary. Oh, okay. Would you want to sit up here and help us out? Thank you so much. And of course, this is a temporary position, but we will go ahead and confirm it just to make sure that you guys have a right to pick somebody else if you like. So, is there any objection, unanimous consent to confirming the temporary chair's appointment of Mia Camera as the temporary secretary? Okay. Seeing none, Mia Camera is now our temporary secretary, and she will be serving until the permanent secretary is elected. You're all free to take notes if you want and help out the new secretary-elect. So at this time, under the bylaws you adopted, there are membership dues, and we can pay those at this time, or if you guys want to keep the meeting going, it's up to you. What do you guys suggest?
I can collect them or take all of you.
Why don't we move on?
Okay.
Does anybody object to that? The new bylaws require that we collect dues now, but for expediency, it might be better, instead of handling all that cash is a pain in the ass, excuse my language, we might be better off once we take over the bank account and the antidote account to ask people to pay. What?
Just do Venmo. Send out a link.
Well, we don't have to vote on that. Let's just does anybody object to us setting aside that requirement to pay dues to continue?
Okay, so there's a motion to set aside the requirement to collect dues at this time, so you can collect them later in a more orderly fashion once you have the bank account established and you've elected a treasurer to collect them. Is there any objection to unanimous consent to dispensing with the collection of dues right now? Hearing no objection, we will go ahead and dispense with that, and that can be done a later time after you've elected a treasurer. Next item on the agenda is the election of a chair and other officers. So are there any nominations at this time for chairman of the Marin County Republican Assembly?
I nominate John Turnquist as chair.
There's been a nomination of John Turnquist and a second. John, do you want to say a few words? Or?
Thank you. Just thank you for the opportunity to do this. You've seen my participation on and off the committee, and now it's time to take it to the next level. I think we've established ourselves as a group that fights above their weight class. And that's what we're known as around town, I should say around the state.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to continue that and escalating our position.
Perfect.
Are there other nominations for the position of chair? Hearing no other nominations, is there any objection to closing nominations and electing John Turnercliff by acclamation, by unanimous consent. Is there any objection to that?
None.
Seeing none, John, congratulations.
Well, now I know what it feels like to tee off right behind Tiger Woods. We're all proud there, thousands of people watching, and then they watch you and say, oh, Jesus. So we'll see what we can do, and I'm excited about this. I know the people that are working on the committee and the people working with the committee are all excited. So it's going to be, it really is going to be the golden age. This is our shot. This is our generation's shot at the big ring. So let's take advantage of it.
All right.
Now let's see how we do.
Item 12.
Okay, so next up will be for vice chair.
No parliamentarian.
Parliamentarian, I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'd like to nominate Tom Hudson as temporary parliamentarian for the rest of the meeting for Placer County. And let me tell you, when he says he can go down to his resume, they stopped him at a meeting I was at. It keeps going and going and going. He's top of the hill. So I nominate Tom. And then
No vote?
so gotta get my wording down here. So if there is no other candidates, which there's not, close to the.
I move that we close nominations.
Thank you. And
I second it.
and with no.
No objection.
No. Yeah, there are no objections. Tom Hudson is now temporary parliamentarian. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, John.
I can say one quick thing. I wanted to thank you guys because I have been on county senate committees since I was 18, and this is the 23rd where I've served as the parliamentarian or the temporary chair. I was the chairman of the Alameda County Republican Party and the chair of the Placer County Republican Party years later, but this is my 23rd time serving as parliamentarian on a committee. So thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, so next will be for a nomination for vice chair.
I nominate Tina Menard for vice chair.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Tina, anything you'd like to say to the group?
I'll just say thank you. I look forward to working with John and more. We've been working with them for the last 2 years and trying to advance, and I think we all helped get Trump elected, even if maybe California didn't in theory elect him. I know we all did a lot of campaigning and calling and writing letters, so I just want to continue that we push the Republican agenda and rank up.
All right.
So if there are no objections, I'd like to close nominations since there's no other candidate at the moment. And hearing no objections, Tina, congratulations, Vice Chair.
Yeah, I'll give him.
In the chair.
In the chair. John, I believe you need something.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but there's actually.
All right.
I won't do it yet.
You gotta learn how to use that thing.
Hopefully not. Okay, Tina. Okay, next will be for secretary.
I
And
nominate Margie Collin for secretary.
Second.
any other nominations for secretary? Margie, would you like to say anything?
Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Please vote.
Yeah, so if there are no objections to closing the nominations, we'll close, and no opponents, so Margie is elected secretary. Congratulations.
All right.
And lastly, executive executive committee, executive officers.
Yeah. Got any green stamps?
Oh. Let me ask, so if she was temporary secretary, she could stay on as temporary
And she's gonna
secretary?
be an
Yeah,
assistant.
stay there.
Assistant, yeah, okay.
Just stay.
All right. Next executive committee position would be for treasurer. Do we hear any nominations?
I nominate Frank Drouillard.
I'll second that.
Easy for you to say.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations for treasurer? Anyone? Frank, would you like to say a few words?
I'm honored to serve. I look forward to it. I look forward to helping rebuild the brand name of the GOP in Marin County and increasing our donations. So, and being a competitive force in the county once again. Thank you.
And then there is one other central committee position that is offered the chairman to select their choice with confirmation by the committee. So I'd like to nominate Chris Carboniello as the at-large member. So I don't think there's really, that's just I don't ask for opposing.
The bylaws require a confirmation.
You need to vote, yes, John.
But yeah, the motion.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a motion to confirm in a second, and then the one.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, so, but there's no other nomination.
John, I think you just asked the assembly to confirm your
Okay.
appointment.
So is there a motion to confirm?
Any
Okay,
objections?
so I'd ask for a motion to confirm Chris Carboniello for member at large on the executive committee.
I move that we
Second.
confirm Chris.
I second that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chris?
Any opposed?
All opposed? Thank you. I'm getting it slowly.
Hey, we didn't get to use a standing vote tonight.
All right, look at that.
Come on up, Chris. Thank you.
Look at that. Not bad for a first
Well, that was kind of clunky, but we will smooth things out as we get the machine going here.
For
Next
old
on the
time's
agenda
sake, Ron, we went
for
you.
the transfer of the, having a conversation with the prior committee as far as transferring accounts, passwords, keys, email, website, all that kind of stuff. I don't think anybody here from the old committee to represent that conversation.
We still want to vote and get it on record. Okay. I move that we require the previous officers to transfer all Central Committee property to the new officers by February 7th, 2025 at noon.
I
I
second.
second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I move that they provide all usernames and passwords to accounts like Anadot.bank, MailChimp, website,
Yeah, content.
usernames and passwords for all the electronic communications that we have by noon tomorrow.
I second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you. Okay, next item, again, I don't think the people are here to be able to speak to it. There's a presentation of the annually required audit that we've been deficient in for at least a couple of years that I've seen. Nobody's here for the
He's not
audit.
here.
So,
That would be Derek.
yeah, we have to require, so, we need a motion to do the same thing, to push them to the audit.
Yes, I move that we require the past treasurer to provide an audit to this committee by the next meeting, which I think is, when is it? February
27.
27th.
Well, before that, it should be way before that.
Oh,
Because we have time to review
Right,
it.
so let's make it, you're right, I move that we require him to provide an audit to this committee by February 7th. That will give us 20 days to review it for adequacy.
And
And in the discussion, I said,
I believe that it's not unfair to give him only 8 days to prepare audit report. I don't.
no, it's supposed to be tonight. It's supposed to be
Yes,
tonight.
it
No, it's supposed to be tonight.
It's supposed to be today.
Yeah. He will-
So this
It was
is
due
extra
today.
time. Not
Yeah,
enough.
he's extra time.
So you give him extra time.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Agreed.
I second the motion.
I just want to, on the discussion part, what about penalties?
Let's cross that bridge when we come to it.
And I would just, I guess wearing my parliamentary hat, I would just notice with your new bylaws that you adopted tonight, grounds for expulsion of members would include failing to turn things over within 2 weeks of the change of officers, as of 2 weeks starting from tonight. So that would be grounds for expulsion in terms of penalty. Somebody asked
In the bylaws.
in the bylaws, a penalty if things aren't turning within 2 weeks.
So,
So we should maybe change that date then
To February
from tonight,
13th?
Right?
February 13th?
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's an amendment to change that motion to it's due by February 13th. And so,
Second,
Thank you, Frank. Just so everybody knows, we have to have this turned in to, when does our budget have to be turned in?
that's another matter. That's another matter.
Okay. Okay.
It's semi-yearly, and I don't think it's due right away. We have some time.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
The motion's been
So we
seconded.
have a motion to require the previous treasurer, Derek Main, to provide the audit. Actually, with the new bylaws, it can be an informal financial review. So it's a little bit more relaxed, but there are requirements in the standing rules specified as to what he has to provide. He has now until, we'll say, noon on February 13th. That gives this committee, the members, an opportunity to review it for adequacy in time for the next regular meeting. So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is for the slate of alternates.
Okay, I understand from, okay, maybe Tom can help us on how to do this. We have a pre-approved slate of candidates we'd like to approve all at once. They are the members that have identified their alternates. We've had a chance to vet them, make sure they're Republicans, make sure they're in the right district, and it's been presented in a table here. It will become part of the minutes. It's this table right here for the secretary. All of you have a copy of it on the seat, but it's my understanding that Luke would like to make a change to that. Instead of Christopher Pash, who's on the list, for him, it's going to be, is your dad here tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, hi Jim. So that's going to be a change, and it's Jim Schroyer, and it's the same address, right? It's yours? Okay.
Frank,
Yes,
my proposed alternate, Angelo Camillo, has requested to be removed from consideration.
okay, so we have a second amendment?
I have we have an additional alternate, Kevin McCormick, who's District 1 San Rafael. We have Mike also, Mike Foley, he's on the list.
You get to nominate one.
Okay, and
So-
well, Carol's available to be an alternate.
Oh, Carol, do you want to nominate?
Oh, Carolyn's too.
This Carol, this is the potential alternate.
We're gonna need you to fill out some paperwork, and we'll add you to the list. Do you have those forms, Steve? I'll bring two, one for Carolyn and one for unless you want to get this one. Can you give that to Carolyn? And then when she's done, you need to give it to the secretary.
That is Carol.
No, who's nominating her?
I'm not, I guess. But, I need someone else to nominate you. Didn't we say that alternates can now serve for any other elected nominated member?
Yeah, but members can only nominate one.
Okay, so we need another member to nominate Carol McCormick.
Yes. Can you nominate Carol McCormick? Do you know her? Okay.
But I'm not in her district.
We know, we
So this is
share
a
that.
district.
You can be any alternate for anybody now.
No, it's for same.
Oh,
Same
You have to
district.
be in the same
I'm sorry.
district.
Yeah.
Do you know what district you're in?
I'm in San Rafael.
San Rafael, that's one? Eric, here. Make her your own. Eric.
Dr. Shirley.
What's your name? Caroline McCormick. Okay. So we have two changes to the list. Caroline McCormick for Eric Selvisberg. Okay, I'll change that, I'll do it. And then we have Jim Schroyer for Luke Schroyer. And we're going to get the address for Carol McCormick here in a minute.
One more.
So, Eric's not on the list, but he's in D1. So, her name is are you Carol? Carol.
Yeah, I did. So I don't drop it again. I don't want to drop it again.
Corman.
Thank you.
We want to read, once you make these changes, read the whole list, so people know for sure who you're.
I will do, and then we'll get your address and your contact information later for the record. And then for up in District 5, we are scratching Christopher Pash for Luke Schroyer, and we're adding his dad, Jim Schroyer. And
We're scratching Angelo. We're scratching Angelo.
oh, and we are scratching for Chris Carpinello. We are removing Angelo completely. So now I'm going to go, if you don't mind, I'll read the list. So starting in District 1, Mark Galperin is nominating Mila Schechter.
Frank, Mark has a question.
Yes.
Point of order. According to our bylaws, which we just adopted, Section 2, membership categories, paragraph C, our nominations should be submitted as emails or regular letters to our secretary. And I don't believe that we have right to breach our bylaws immediately after we adopt it. Thank you. And
Okay, most of the people that are, actually everyone on this list has either been done in writing here, or they wrote to me and said, this is who I want to be my alternate. I will pass all of those written communications to the secretary. Because I went through all of these names and I checked and I made sure that everybody was in the right district and that they were registered Republican. Okay, so that's the initial vetting, and then most of us know everyone. So I would argue that we don't have to follow that particular, I would argue that we've met that requirement. Because we're going to get 2 written nominations tonight, one for Jim Schroyer and one for Caroline McCormick. And we will, the others we got by email, or I received them by email, and I will pass them to the secretary. So we will have the nominations in writing. I just don't have them with me tonight. Is that, I'm going to move, is that acceptable to everybody?
Yes.
Second.
Okay. Do you want to call a vote on that, John?
To accept, did you read
The changes that's made tonight.
Right, so we're getting 2 handwritten nominations tonight. Everyone else on this list was nominated by a member to me by email so that I could vet them. I am going to transfer all of those emails to the secretary when I get home. So she will have possession of all the nominations
In writing.
in writing to meet that requirement that Mark noted.
all in favor of Frank's motion for the alternate?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Frank.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, now I am going to read the names if it's okay. I think most of you people know everybody, but we may have to get an introduction from you, Caroline, and everybody knows Jim. So, all right, in District 1, we have Mark Galperin is nominating Mila Schechter. Mila, can you stand up?
All right, Mila.
Okay.
Hey, Mila.
One of the brave souls that ran for office earlier this year, and we appreciate it. Mark did too. Mark ran for Santa Fe City Council. You ran for Community College District. Okay, all right. Well, that's Mila Schechter. Now, moving on to Carolyn Bednarz, you are nominating a Carolyn. No, you're not. I'm sorry. You're not. Wrong district. My apologies. Elena Barbagelata is nominating Mike Thawley. So Mike, okay. Now back in District 1, I'm sorry I keep these things. Eric Salvesberg, our newly appointed member in District 1, is nominating Carolyn McCormick. Can you stand up? about yourself because we haven't met you before.
I'm an amazing wife and mother of one. Live in San Rafael. Long time, 30-year class employee at Levi Strauss, and now I'm at a different company. That's it. I just, I work and I watch Fox News all the time.
Stop watching Fox.
That's nice.
And her husband's cousin is the governor of?
Missouri.
Missouri? Oh, really? Wow, awesome.
Mike Kehoe.
Okay, excellent.
Is he your husband?
I'm writing that down.
Republican governor.
Okay, next we have, this is again in District 2. Margie Cullen is nominating Teresa LaFranchi. Teresa, can you stand up? Tell everybody. Now, if you haven't met her, I want you to say, you want to say anything about yourself to the crowd?
My name is Teresa LaFranchi. I have 2 kids. I'm married and I live in Fairfax. And thanks for having me.
This is
He
it.
is my cousin.
This is the Super Bowl. Perfect. The Super Bowl. First now we have our.
Okay, moving on to District 3, we're talking about John Turnacliffe, and he is nominating Marilyn Zerby. Marilyn, would you like to stand up? And can you say a little bit about yourself? Most of us know you, but some of the newer members may not.
Yeah, I live in Camp Valley, married, 2 grown sons, huge patriot, voted for Trump 3 times. And he won 3 times.
Marine? Is he?
Brennan?
Yes.
No, he just wears a cowboy hat.
Okay. That's, yeah, cool cowboy.
I
All
can
right.
tell some days.
All right, so now we're on to me in District 4. I'm nominating Mia Camara. Everybody knows Mia.
Thank you, Mia.
So Julie Zeller is nominating Teef Gibbs. Teef. Anyone here that doesn't know who Teef is? You wouldn't want to admit it. Okay. Now Walter Jensen is going to nominate Aaron Cervantes.
Oh, good.
Aaron's in the right Do you want to say a little bit about yourself for those that don't know you, Aaron?
Sure. I ran for state assembly for District 12 this last round. I got a good eye-opening experience of the situation we have here in Marin County. We have a lot of work to do, and I'm super excited to be part of it.
All right. Okay. You don't want to say what you do for a living?
Oh, well, I mean,
You have an awesome job. Tell me.
okay. I work at Standpoint Boot. I'm handling the legal stuff, so all the lovely little lawsuits that the darlings, my livelihood, I work for them. So that's me, 26 years.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Luke Schroyer from District 5. He's our youngest member, Luke. And he's trying to nominate a gentleman whose wife's having a baby now, so he's excused. But for now, we would like to have, or he wants to nominate his dad, Jim Schroyer, who's at the same address as Luke. So, Jim, you want to stand up? You want to say a little bit about yourself?
Tony.
Hi, Tony.
And Luke and I are real estate brokers, and we work together as a team, and we're happy to help with the cause here.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you. Is your alternate here tonight? Okay. Well, we're going to introduce him anyway, so you're familiar with this name. Matthew Bennett is also in District 5, and he nominated one of his colleagues, William Campbell, but he couldn't be here tonight, so we'll get him next time. But just remember that name. Next up is Chris Carpinello. His proposed nominee doesn't want to do it now. And the next person is Renton Rumpf. Is your alternate here Denise Regal?
She's in St. Louis helping move her aging father.
Okay, so now remember, this gal sounds like a rock star. Remember Denise Geringer Reagan? we're going to try to get her at the next meeting. So the two names we need you to remember are Denise Derringer-Regan and the other one, William Campbell. Okay, both representing members in District 5. And while I have the floor for a minute, I just want to say, here's Robert Howell. What have you run for? Insurance Commissioner, Assembly. He's from Santa Clara County. So stand up and say hi, Robert.
I ran for Insurance Commissioner, and hindsight being 2020, that was a good thing, all of a sudden. Not making it. But I also run for state senate a bunch of times. But I'm from Santa Clara County, and I'm up here going, you guys are rock stars. Right? I've been working on my committee for 20 years. Right? We spent $50,000 with the door hangers and nailers and stuff to get the rhinos knocked off, and they thought they had us nailed, by the way, at the last meeting, and it didn't work out. We got voted out by one. Now, word of advice, get your slates and stuff into the state like tomorrow morning. Right? It'll take them away, because that's happening around the state.
Okay.
Anyway, bottom line, you guys are rock stars. I mean, this is amazing. Everything we did was bad.
Everything we've done is bad.
And one more person before I turn over the floor.
Thank you.
Has been a member of this committee for a long, long time. Can you point him out, Victor Jr. and Maria? The guy with the Trump hat, the die-hard Trump supporter, is a long-time committee member, and I think we ought to give him a hand for being part of this.
Thank
The Latino side of the party.
Never.
Oldest Latino Republican in this county. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Victor.
Thank you, Frank.
Okay.
Any other nominations for alternates? So seeing no other nominations, if there are no objections, we can unanimous by acclamation to that list, except for the two that are missing tonight. And they'll be brought in next time. So all in favor?
Aye.
Actually, that's a good question.
What do you mean the two that are missing tonight?
They won't be confirmed tonight.
They're not confirmed.
Because they're not here.
They're not here. The ones that aren't here.
They gotta be here.
Yes. So next month, if they show up, we can confirm them. John, do we need to give them
Why
the
can't they be confirmed?
Well, because
They're not here.
But they, why do they have to be here to be confirmed?
Because they have to, well, the bylaws, but also so the members get to see who it is that's coming in.
Don't they have to say
It's
no?
a part of the vetting process.
Don't they have to do no?
No, the oath, Tom, for the best description of the current oath status, Tom, could you provide that?
Yeah, okay. I've been advising 14 counties this month on the oath, and I administered the oath of office for the Placer County folks. I'll just tell you real quick, about 10 years ago, the legislature removed the requirement that some committee members had to take the oath. And just so you know, it actually makes a little bit more sense than you may realize. So I'll try to make this quick, but if you look it up, Article 20, Section 3 of the California Constitution has the oath, the official oath of office. And before I was born, the federal courts had struck that down as to the state requiring state employees to take that oath. It was struck down. It contains the language in it that many of you probably never have seen before, but it's still in the California Constitution. It contains the language that you have to swear that you're not a member and have never been a member of a party that advocates the violent overthrow of the United States government and some language like that. So the courts had struck that down with regard to the state forcing people to do it. But that creates an interesting thing for groups like this one, because you're not the state. You don't have the power of compulsion. It's freedom of assembly and freedom of association, and you guys arguably would have the authority if you wanted to ask people to take that oath. But partly because of this conflict, the legislature said, well, clearly the Democrat legislature can't tell the Republican Party and the Green Party and the Libertarians and the other parties what oath they have to administer. So they removed that requirement, not to say you can't take an oath, but to say that it's not required. And then there's some additional things I can tell you about that, but I guess getting right to the point, I wasn't even aware. I was already the Alameda County Chair and had administered the oath to everybody. We used to require that for all of our alternates and associates and everything. And I wasn't even aware of this dispute over which is the official oath and things until I was in Placer County was chair, and I was being told that, hey, you had these people take the wrong oath. And so, so we removed the oath requirement from our bylaws, and I noticed that that is the trend in county secretaries around the state, is to take it out of their bylaws so it's not required. But sort of like the invocation, which is not required, but we standard, you know, the standard in Placer, we start our meetings with an invocation, but it's not required. And if somebody for religious reasons or other reasons doesn't want to participate in that, you know, they don't have to. And so the oath is kind of the same sort of thing. And my understanding in your bylaws is you, I don't recall that you guys require an oath in your bylaws. So I don't think you guys require it either, but similar to the invocation, which isn't required, you know, you may want to do it just as a letting people know we'd like everyone to be, you know, faithful to the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of California, and that may be something that you want to do as a matter of practice, similar to an invocation, but it's not required. And if somebody shows up late or doesn't participate in the oath, they don't get removed or something or disallowed from voting because they haven't taken it yet. So that's kind of the state of affairs. I ran through that really quickly, but I can give you more details if you're interested.
Mark? Thank you.
I studied this specific matter with the Secretary of State, and this is a clarification. Every who has been nominated to this office and been elected already took the office. Specifically, it's printed on your Marin County Elections Department Declaration of Candidacy, which reads that I, John Doe, in this case Margaret Ferry, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. In other words, this is what I said, is just a reminder to all of us of the oaths we already took.
But the alternates have.
The alternates hadn't did that.
Yeah.
Alternates have not done that.
Right, all, as I said, all elected, of course, not all present.
So it's up to you guys.
So that will put it up to us if we want to vote. Sir?
I'm a guest here, I'm not a member of the committee. I'm from Alameda, and I'd like to introduce the chair of the Alameda.
Well, hey, Joe, we're going to have new business and just, we'll have just new business just a second. I'm sorry. We'll have new business and open talk.
If we're going to require the alternates to have an oath, I think we should all take the oath. And if we can have someone that wants to read the oath that we agree to.
We can do a ceremonial.
We will do a ceremony.
I second that.
Okay.
I move that we have that ceremony at our next monthly meeting.
I'm for it.
I second.
Second.
Why not have it now?
Because
Not everybody's here.
they're not certified
You know,
yet.
everybody will be here next
We've
month.
already signed it, though. All of us have already signed it.
But why?
Let's do it now.
Okay.
Tom, can you
Yeah, do it
read
now.
the oath?
Not everybody.
Just on the screen.
Question?
Yeah.
He's a firefighter and he's not able to make the next meeting. He just mentioned he'd like to be able to do the oath now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing it.
So members and alternates. Did we elect all the alternates yet?
No.
Did we form? Let's elect the alternates first, and then we'll give the oath. All right. So we've heard about the changes to that table. You've all seen the table. We've added a couple people, removed a couple people. I move that we approve the slate of alternates as amended.
Second.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Alternates passed. Thank you. Now for the oath.
Now, if you'll please stand, and anyone can stand, whether you're an alternate or an elected member or an ex officio member, feel free to stand and take the oath voluntarily. So I'll read, I guess I'll just do it the standard way of, you repeat after me. So I, and state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
Upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Amen. Play ball.
In the back, there's actually new business. New business from any of the committees. Any committee members, new business? Anyone?
Joe? Margie,
Now it's your turn, Almeida.
you get the name, your assistant? Just tell
Okay. So Margie's just designated me as her assistant secretary. Does that take a vote?
Make a motion.
Doesn't need a vote. She has the right to do that in the bylaws.
It's just an announcement.
Yes.
Just an announcement.
Great.
Okay, so next on the agenda is new business from committee members, if there's any new business.
This is for next meeting or for now?
For right now.
By the way, all you alternates that have been sworn in, you're members, you get to participate in meetings. You just can't vote or make motions unless your nominating or appointing member is absent. You've got to represent an absent member in order to vote or make motions. But you can participate in discussions, just to
Good, thank you. And something that we have not done on this committee, and it might be different tonight because, like I say, the Tiger Woods of this is here tonight speeding things along, but we want the community who are not the close membership to come in and feel free, like there is a Republican Party that they can go into and talk to and have a few minutes so people can hear their thought, because it might just take one person out of 1,000 that has the idea, like, God, why didn't we think of that? So, but also get people engaged to come in and communicate and send ideas in and tell their friends that there really is a Republican Party, because a lot of you heard me talk about, I was 25 years here until 2020 cheat. And I go, there's got to be a GOP. I didn't know there was a GOP here for 25 years. So we have to get that word out. And so we're going to try, as time permits, and it does tonight, to have people like Alameda coming in to talk, or if Mark is, not a member of the committee, or whoever can come in and still give us some of their ideas and share their experiences and thoughts. So to start, the first person that we have in our new business for the new committee, Joe Bircher.
I just want to introduce Tom Vaughn, who's the chairman of the Alameda Party.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah, thank you. Wonderful. Thank you. Little being here, watching you guys do your magic. You guys do great work here, as always. We just had our organization meeting over at Alameda County on 15th. We had our election in person. We still have a lot to do. There's outgoing executives that created a pseudo government parallel to ours. So we're compiling that out right now. But we're expected to get that all sorted out and move forward. This is the golden age of Trump, and we should take advantage of it every day, every second, every minute. We should be taking advantage of it.
Amen.
And we're going to take this time back. It's going to take a big area.
Great, thank you, Tom. Something that Tom and Leslie Wong have worked on is something I want to bring and have them either come present to us or share with us the mechanics. They have a star search for candidates. When I heard star search for candidates, I was just kind of no, they have a program that's star search for candidates. And that's one thing that we're lacking in Marin, is a number of, we've had great candidates that get out there and they're workhorses. I mean, it's a battle, but we need to get more. And hopefully people like Tom and Leslie can show us some of their ideas that they've been using in Alameda to get candidates to run. And that'll help lift everything we're trying to do instead of putting the weight on the few that have been doing it, which we're very grateful for. So thank you.
Just a quick synopsis of our Alameda County Star Search. So we've been in the works for 2 years. We've reduced the number of unopposed seats in the last race by 17%. We have 4 elected school board members, 1 appointed city council member, and we have 3 commissioners. So we're making an impact. In our
Bravo, bravo. Great job.
primary election, we ran about 35 to 40 candidates, and we don't charge for our service. Everything we focus on, everything from the local offices, commissioner, judges, water, park, all the way to state and federal. So if anybody wants to learn how to do this, I'm going to work with John and his whole team to get people elected.
Congratulations.
And I want to pile on what Frank said to Robert Howell in the red shirt up from Santa Clara. We've been down there a few times, and Robert has kind of taken us under his wing and introduced us to people at the conventions, at the short conferences, but going down there to see how the stuff works right in motion, get into play, see how it's done once the ball snaps. And Robert's been very helpful to us, so Robert, thank you for that.
I don't know if it's new business or not, but my suggestion is that every associate member and every elected member will think through and bring to the next meeting or submit it even earlier in writing to our secretary their suggested candidates for associate members. We have not only alternate members, but we do have also associate members. And we had in our plans for this meeting, which we use, everybody understands, we prepared, also to discuss this possibly, if times allows, associate members as well, but probably this time everybody is too stressed to do that. And my suggestion is to be ready next meeting to bring more people as associate members. The membership, associate membership is open. We invite everybody to become, every Republican who is caring of this country, of its future, to become our associate member. And that's I don't know how to, should it be recorded in the proceedings of this meeting, or
Yeah, it is in the
Yeah,
minutes.
it's there. Thank you, Mark. So that is something, again, as we're trying to cast a bigger net, we're trying to get different people ways to come in. The associate membership that Mark's talking about is going to be a new program. So somebody who just wants to put their toe in the water can actually come in and get in the discussion. They won't get shut out. So please tell your friends. Frank, do you have a brief description on the program?
Yes, I do. For newcomers here, up at that table, I've got about 10 copies. It's an introduction to the Marin GOP. It tells you what our objectives are, what we do, and it also has many opportunities for you to participate. We've got numerous subcommittees that we need help on. Things like communications, precinct committee, all this good stuff. So we've got different types of members. You already heard about the alternate members. They represent regular members when they can't show up at a meeting. We also have associate members. It's important to know that alternates and associates, we've changed our bylaws so you can serve on all of these committees. You don't have to be a central committee member. You can even serve on the central committee if we choose to elect you to the central committee. So we're trying to make it wide open to get more participation. And again, this is a 4-page document. It's at the front. If you want to learn more about how you can participate in this committee, I encourage that you get one of these. If we run out of copies, you can contact John or I, and we'll make sure you get a copy. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Anybody else? General comments before we wrap? Yes.
Hi, I'm Joseph Blackman. I'm the secretary of the California Young Republicans. We're a statewide organization that tries to keep People in GOP who are in their 20s and 30s engage with politics.
Yeah.
Often people are very active volunteers when they're in college, and then they kind of drop off until later in life. So what the Young Republicans try to do is provide a political home to keep people in their 20s and 30s engaged with the party. If you have any friends or family members in their 20s or 30s, I encourage you to send them our way. We would love to get them looped into finding ways to stay engaged. Because often it's easier to stay engaged if you're working very closely with people your age. And if we can identify 10 young Republicans in Marin County, we can get a chapter started right here. And until we get to that point, we also have a very active chapter in San Francisco County, which people can sign up for at the website sfyr.io.
Now, how does your group compare to, say, the Young Republicans?
We are the young.
You're, okay. So David Chan part of your group, or is he the other group?
Oh, I think he would be the college.
College. Okay.
They organize
Okay.
people
Yeah.
who are like 18 to 22, and we handle people.
What is the difference, please? Could you please clarify the difference between these two?
Basically, the college Republicans are for people in college, and the young Republicans are for people who are basically out of college until they turn 40.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tom?
My name's Tom Blackstone. I'm the executive producer of a documentary called Selection Code. It's called Selection Code 2, Defiance. So if anybody wants to talk to me about it, I'll hang out after the meeting. I'm working with Mike Lindell, Dr. Douglas Frank, Shirley Bishop, and of course Tina Peters. So if you don't know who Tina Peters is.
What's the status? Tom, what's the status now? Is it done or is it in process?
We're just starting.
Just starting.
It's taking off. So all input is more than welcome.
Could you give us a
Thank
little
you.
background
Thank
on
you
that?
for what you're doing.
This documentary?
I don't want to monopolize.
Just give us a one line, because I'm not
It's
familiar with
basically,
it.
we pick up where Selection Code left off and show what happened at the trial, show how, had she prevailed, 120 countries or elections would have been overturned. It's just too big to kind of talk about in 10 words less.
But it's essentially the Tina Peters story.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great.
And the ramifications there.
Thank you.
Just for people who don't know, another part of Tom's background is he's the banner guy. If you see an 80-foot long banner, 5 feet tall, stretched across the highway, he's the guy that's responsible for it.
Well, if there's no other comments for tonight, I guess I'm ready to see if this works.
Shall we
Now,
entertain a
wait,
motion?
Tom, wait, yeah, Tom, if it's beforehand, do I have to go motion?
You have to have a motion.
We're early. We're through the agenda.
John,
John.
should I say something about August?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, let folks know where we're gonna meet after the meeting.
Oh, yeah. So we're gonna go down the street to the 4 Point Sheraton Hotel for a little post-game get together, just right back by the freeway, turn left and just go up the hill to last, before you get on the freeway.
It used to be the
4 Point Sheraton.
4 Point
On the
Sheraton.
left-hand side, you get to the freeway, you've gone too far.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All right.